Yeah, I have a giant head like Pennywise myself. Alright. Y'all, it's finally here. It, Welcome to Derry, the awkwardly titled prequel to It Chapters 1 and 2, aka the second on-screen iteration of the Stephen King novel from which this series draws plenty of inspiration. Itspiration? Whatever. We got a new It show, and baby, it's bananas. Full spoilers, by the way. I'm gonna be talking not only about that insane premiere episode, but also about what to expect going forward in this first season. Anyway, let's dive in. The first episode of It, Welcome to Derry takes place in the year 1962, 27 years prior to the events of It Chapter 1, and follows a few different characters, most of whom appear to make up our core cast. A new, older version of the Losers Club, it would seem. However, as the episode opens with a potentially major character, Maddie, being introduced only for him to meet an unexpected and horrific demise, so too does the remainder of the episode set up characters only to end their lives with little fanfare. That's sort of a long-winded way of saying the show kills off a bunch of kids. I'll delve into the military plot in just a bit. First, we've got to talk about the children. See, the first episode follows essentially four main high school kids. There's Lily Bainbridge, a girl with a tragic past. Her dad died in a pickle factory, very sad, who sees fingers coming up from a bathtub drain and hears a haunting sing-song voice that sounds eerily similar to Maddie. She's joined by Maddie's friends Teddy Uris and Phil Malkin, the former of whom is terrorized by a human skin lampshade and thus also hops aboard the "sure, there's voices in the sewer" train. Then there's Ronnie Grogan, another local kid who's heard similar voices and whose dad, a movie theater employee, was a suspect in Maddie's disappearance. So altogether, we've got these four main kids to supplement as our Losers Club. Plus Phil's little sister Susie, who's just along for the ride, man. So really 5 characters, some of whom could potentially get knocked off later in the series after a little more exploration of their characters. After all, we have Phil's alien conspiracy theories that work with the plot concerning Pennywise and his origins, and Teddy is obviously bound for more development regarding his Jewish heritage, and nope. No sir, no, we don't think so, say the Muschietis, as they savagely murderize 3 of these 5 kids with a giant winged mutant demon baby. And like, not even with an ounce of survivability, these kids are absolutely destroyed. There's blood and guts everywhere, one of their faces slams into the projector booth, body very much not attached. It's a bloodbath, people. Even Susie is taken out. Susie! Right from the get-go, this thing wants you to know that we will not be just copying what came before and that no one is safe. For now, however, we have 2 characters who survive the massacre at the Capitol Theater, Lily and Ronnie, neither of whom is likely to have a good time following the deaths of Teddy, Phil, and Susie. Lily has already had some experience at Juniper Hill Asylum, the same institution where Henry Bowers was sent after killing his dad in It Chapter 1 as well as in the book. Based on the Weeks Ahead preview, we're set to see more of that particular location sometime during the season, meaning Lily could very well get sent back due to her association with the massacre. Or there's like flashbacks or something. Whatever. We can also tell from the preview that Ronnie's dad is once again going to have to answer to the police as they try to pin the crime on him. Is it good that I do all these hand motions? Does it drive you crazy? As far as additional members to this new old group of losers, we also have Lily's friend Marge, who it appears is bound for some eye-related trauma, and possibly this Native American character played by Joshua Odjick, who hasn't been named at the time of making this video, so I don't know, that guy. Either way, we can tell that the kids are bound to get some help from the series' fictional Native American tribe, the Shokopiwa, which I think will be represented primarily by Kimberly Guerrero's Rose. This tribe will likely introduce our child protagonists to the ritual of Chud, which, with how franchise conventions have been handled thus far, perhaps that's not as bound to happen as I'm assuming. This leads me to the major adult characters we've met thus far. Again, at the time of recording, we haven't yet been introduced to Rose, so I'll forgo my suspicions about her. Instead, let's focus on Leroy Hanlon and Dick Halloran. Chances are you've seen both of these characters before. Halloran, of course, is most famous for his part in the novel, feature film, miniseries, and cultural phenomenon The Shining, while Leroy Hanlon was briefly seen in It Chapter 1, wherein he is Mike Hanlon's guardian and gives Mike a stern lecture about not being a sheep, getting a bolt between the eyes. It's a great little monologue, and there he's played by Stephen Williams, whom you might remember as Creighton Duke in Jason Goes to Hell. That's really neither here nor there, I just wanted an excuse to use this clip. Dude's just been really into sticking things into stuff forever. Anyway, just the fact that Dick Halloran is in Welcome to Derry is pretty bananas. You're telling me we have an opportunity for the old guy from The Shining to do psychic battle with Pennywise the freaking clown? That's amazing. Sure, it sounds like fanfiction by someone banned from the city of Bangor, Maine, but like, hell yeah, let's go. Add to that, he's teaming up with the grandpa of one of the Losers Club. I mean, you're starting to stretch my immersion a bit, but sure, let's do it. I'm down to clown. But wait, it gets nuttier. See, while the details are still a little scarce, we already know, thanks to some leaks and early reviews of the first 5 episodes, what to expect from the military plot, and it's way more than you would expect it to be. I'm gonna check on my computer, and I'm gonna try to remember to cut this part out. When does the black spot burn down in the book It? See, Dick Halloran's presence isn't unfounded. He is in fact mentioned in the book It as having been at the black spot when it was burned down in 1930, while of course in the movies it was in 1962. So we can safely assume that, given that we know the black spot burning down does happen in the continuity of the films, we are going to see that particular event take place. And really, that's what we figured when the casting first started getting announced. But the thing is, the black spot appears to just be a detour of sorts, and the main plot is far more bizarre than a psychic dude meeting some kid's grandpa back in the day. Here's where the big spoilers are, so turn away now if you don't want to know what's going down in Season 1. Okay, we ready? Let's go. The central plot of Welcome to Derry shows that the US military is aware of Pennywise and is actively trying to capture him to use as a weapon against the Russians and Cubans in order to win the Cold War. In order to do this, they have to find 13 pillars, which are really rock shards from the cage the alien creature traveled in, and which can be used to contain it. These pillars are under the protection of the Shakopiwa. Dick Halloran is there to use his psychic shine to help the military hunt Pennywise, while Leroy is key to the plan because he suffered a brain injury which has left him unable to feel fear, which explains his cool reaction to being threatened in episode 1. It's a bit weird. Some might even say, bananas? Me, I think it sounds like the most Stephen King of adaptations precisely because it is so very over the top. If you've read the man's work, you might know what I'm talking about. Sure, there are the relatively simple stories like Misery or The Long Walk, but when you start reading stuff like Firestarter, Dreamcatcher, The Tommyknockers, the Dark Tower series, you start to realize this guy likes to get a little wacky with his storytelling. To me, it's a hallmark of his bibliography, a feature, not a bug. That said, books like Dreamcatcher and Tommyknockers do have a nasty habit of descending into off-the-wall lunacy that doesn't quite gel with readers, and that could be what's happening with Welcome to Derry. However, I'm optimistic, especially after the rug pull that is the first episode. I'm definitely up for more, and I hope this season delivers. But how about you? Did you enjoy that first episode, and are you looking forward to more? Let me know down in them comments, and as always, thank you for watching ScreenRant.